review is late. It's probably not even like relevant to even be talking about this movie anymore. I just got caught up watching porn. I forgot to do it. It happens to everyone. You get caught watching porn, you forget to do stuff like do a Spider-Man review. Watching all the promotional material, the trailers and clips and TV spots for this movie, I figured this movie could either go one of two ways. It could either be the Spider-Man movie I've been waiting for, the best Spider-Man movie I'll ever see, the one that I've always wanted to see, or it could be, utter shit and garbage like the last three Spider-Man movies have ended up being. If you want to know the Cliff Notes version of what I thought about the movie, I thought it was really good. It kind of landed in the middle between best Spider-Man movie ever and worst Spider-Man movie, or one of the worst Spider-Man movies. If you guys remember my Amazing Spider-Man movie reviews, my main problem with those two movies were that tonally, character-wise, and just in terms of plot points, they were almost exactly the same beat for beat as the Sam Raimi movies were. In terms of tone, this movie is the most distinct and furthest away that we've ever gotten from those Spider-Man movies. Watching the movie, it really reminded me that, oh yeah, we can actually have a fun Spider-Man movie. And that's not to say that I didn't have fun with any of the other Spider-Man movies, but it's been so long since we've had a really fun and really engaging Spider-Man movie that just feels refreshing. I can say that this is the most fun I ever had with a Spider-Man movie in the longest time. It's easily the most funniest, too. I've never laughed more times in a Spider-Man movie ever. It just has a really unique, funny, and humorous, and very charming personality that really sets it apart from all the other Spider-Man movies that we've seen before. Tom Holland is great as Spider-Man and Peter Parker. After watching this movie all the way through, it's easy to say that he's my personal favorite Spider-Man. I don't think he's the absolute best. I still think there's great things that both Tobey and Andrew had given us, but just in my personal opinion, he's the perfect package of everything I want to see in Peter Parker and Spider-Man. Like, he's cool, and you kind of want to hang out with him, but he's not too cool, but he's really awkward, but he's not too awkward where you don't want to hang out with him, and he's not a complete dick as Spider-Man like Andrew Garfield was in the Amazing Spider-Man movies. Every joke that he says as Spider-Man, it feels organic, and I get that Spider-Man's jokes are supposed to be bad from time to time, and there are a good amount of those too in here, but they don't feel forced. Like, he's also very charming in the movie, and this actually works to his advantage that would otherwise be a disadvantage to most guys. But Tom Holland, he's like 20-some years old. Like, he's only a couple years older than me. He is a very young-looking dude, and he sounds very young. I haven't really heard his British accent, so I don't know if it's very distinct or different or deeper than his American accent is. But he sounds and looks like a little kid. It really helps him so much in the movie. They even make jokes about it in the movie, which is really great. And it's his best attribute because seeing him in this movie, I never thought to myself, oh, this is just a guy pretending to be a teenager. He's just acting like a teenager. No, he acted like a teenager. There were times where he was upset and excited and happy and angsty. And he just captured that whole teenage Peter Parker perfectly. He's not moping around the entire movie. Like I said, he has perfect moments where he is angsty and where those moments are warranted, but he's super excitable like a teenager would be if you had all these like super crazy, amazing spider powers. Also, that was a really nice addition that they actually gave Peter Parker a friend in this movie to work off of with Ned, who's also a very likable character in his own respect. Because in all the other Spider-Man movies, Sam Raimi and Mark Webb included, they never really gave anybody for Peter Parker to talk to. I mean, he had Harry Osborn in the original Spider-Man trilogy, but then again, he wasn't really a good friend to Peter. Like in the first movie, he steals the girl that Peter Parker likes. Second movie, gets drunk and slaps Peter around, and in the third movie, he's trying to kill Peter. Which kind of goes without saying, yeah, he's not that good of a friend. They barely had a relationship in the Mark Webb movies, and even if they did have a relationship, it was poorly developed and really unbelievable. You guys have to remember that Spider-Man talks a lot. He's a chatterbox. He doesn't just talk when he's fighting villains, and he doesn't just make jokes there, but he also talks to himself when he's fighting crime. However, that's really easy to do in a comic book because you have speech bubbles above his head or thought bubbles above his head that express what he's thinking in that moment, where if he had that in the movie, it would look really weird, and if he did something like an inner monologue, it would be really cliche. But giving him a friend and also an AI in the suit that he talks to in some scenes helps express what he's feeling in that moment. And gives not just Peter Parker, but also Spider-Man more personality than he's had in any other movie. Toby barely talked in the Sam Raimi movies, and Andrew Garfield only made jokes in his movies. But here he actually has conversations that express Spider-Man's emotions and actually create a personality for himself. And actually shows that they're really inseparable, Peter Parker and Spider-Man. Peter Parker is Spider-Man and vice versa. Whereas Batman and Bruce Wayne, they're very different and distinct personalities, and there's very big differences between them. Same thing with Clark Kent and Superman. But here, they're inseparable. Also, Vulture is a great villain in the movie. Easily the best Spider-Man movie villain that we've seen so far. I mean, Doc Ock was a really great villain in Spider-Man 2, and I still think he's a great villain in Spider-Man 2. I just thought that Vulture was a lot more intimidating than Doc Ock was. There was never any moment in Spider-Man 2 that made me go, oh shit, Doc Ock, he's like super, super scary and super bad. And there was never any moment that made me fear for Spider-Man's life, or for Peter Parker's life, or for any other character that mattered that Doc Ock was threatening in that movie. And it's really hard talking about him as a villain because there's one pretty little detail that really adds to how great of a villain he is in the movie. And I know this is a spoiler review, and I'm gonna talk about some deeper details than what I'm usually used to. But it's such a good thing. It's such a good twist that for anyone who has not seen the movie, I really want them to be surprised. I know it's been like almost a month since this movie's been out, but on the off chance there's one person who has not seen the movie yet, I really want them to go in just cold and not knowing what's going to happen. I'll just say that there's a scene where he's in the car and he's with Peter. And at this point he knows who Peter is, he knows he's Spider-Man and all that stuff. And he pulls out a gun and he just says flat out to Peter, if you fuck with me one more time, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill everyone you know and everyone that you love. I'm going to kill them dead. Not doesn't just say, oh, I'm going to kill them. I'm going to kill them fucking dead, you little shit. It pretty much has him, like, with his mouth hanging, just like, okay. Just, it is the most shit your pants. It's like a scene that lasts like a minute long, but because how intimidating and how tension-filled that one scene is, it feels like it goes on for like 5 minutes. And above all else, he's just a relatable villain. You understand his motives, you understand where he's coming from. He was just this guy, construction worker, trying to clean up after the mess of the first Avengers movie. And then Tony Stark, one of the guys who inadvertently caused that mess, is coming in trying to make money and profit off of the mess that he and all the other Avengers made. And now Vulture, he bought all this construction crew and all these guys, and now he has to turn to a life of crime just to pay all that off. It was also nice that his big villain plot was not another takeover New York thing like every other Spider-Man movie. It wasn't like turning everyone into lizards or making a giant sun death machine or kidnapping his girlfriend. His whole motive, his whole drive in the movie is just to steal shit off a plane. Just to steal a bunch of weapons and then just sell them to a bunch of guys, just make a bunch of money. That's all it is. It's a very simple, smaller scale Spider-Man movie than we've ever seen before. We don't even see him like actually swinging in like the middle of Manhattan or in any real big New York landmarks. They keep it like in Queens throughout the entire movie. How a franchise should be. It's called escalation. Get bigger and better with each movie, not just in terms of budget and effects, but in scale and story and characters and grander moments that we'll see them in later down the line, especially if we're going to see Peter Parker grow up over the course of, I think, 6 movies, they said. Now, okay, the movie is called Spider-Man Homecoming, right? Right. At first, when this was announced, this was going to be the title of the movie, or the subtitle at least, I thought it was a pretty interesting title. I wasn't in love with it, but I didn't hate it right out the gate. I thought, okay, if they're going to have Peter Parker go back to high school, focus on his years during high school and as a teenager, this is a fitting title. And just by reading that title, it sort of clicks in your head, okay, the plot of the movie is going to revolve around him going to the homecoming dance, or him trying to get a date for the homecoming dance. That's fine. Just going off that name alone, going back to what I said about Spider-Man villains being really superfluous and really only being there to affect Peter Parker's personal life, I thought that the movie would revolve around him trying to get a date to the homecoming dance, but he'd have to fight Vulture or some other villain, and he would never have the chance to. They spend they spend less than a minute at the actual homecoming dance in this movie. And it's not even, they bring it up in the first 2 acts, like they make it a big deal, like, oh no, you gotta remember about the homecoming dance, and oh hey, homecoming dance is coming up, do you have a date, do you have this thing? It's mentioned in one scene at the beginning of the movie, and then it's brought up and they actually go to it for that less than a minute scene at the very end of the movie. I actually turned to the person that I saw this movie with, and I said to them, holy shit, I totally forgot this movie was called Spider-Man Homecoming. There's actually a subplot in the movie regarding Peter and his academic decathlon that they could have substituted to actually make the Homecoming part of the Spider-Man Homecoming title make actual sense and be a part of the actual plot in the movie. It's established early in the movie that Liz, the girl that Peter really likes and will eventually ask out to the homecoming dance in the movie, is a part of the homecoming committee that gets stuff together and ready for the homecoming dance. You could have had Peter join the homecoming committee as a point to get to know Liz more and eventually ask her out to the homecoming dance, and instead of bailing on all the decathlon stuff, they could have just had him bail on all the homecoming committee meetings. Guys! There you go. I just made your whole homecoming subtitle actually credible and make sense according to the story. And that shit that I did not even write down for this video. I just thought that shit up off the top of my head while making the goddamn video. Also, regarding Liz in this movie, I really want to say that she's the worst love interest in any of these Spider-Man movies, but at the same time, it kind of seems like an over-exaggeration. I started to hate Mary Jane more and more progressively over those first 3 Spider-Man movies, but at the very least in the first film, she was really likable, and I remember some of the shit that she did. In this movie, I don't remember anything that this girl does. Aside from one plot twist that is a really genuinely good plot twist, there's nothing interesting or memorable about this character, and you don't get any idea of why she likes Peter or Peter likes her, outside of the fact that both are kinda smart. She also can't take a fucking hint that Peter, from her perspective, again, she doesn't know that he's Spider-Man, that he's a fucking asshole, okay? He ditches the decathlon. She never says anything about that. She's the captain of the decathlon. They still win, but he fucking ditches them, leaves them cold and dry, and on top of that, takes her to the homecoming dance and leaves her right there on the spot, on the fucking dance floor. And then he comes back later, apologizes, which, yeah, fine, he apologizes, but still, I'd be pissed off. And all that she has to say about it is, I'm not really mad at you, I'm just kind of worried about what's going on with you. No! That's not how any girl would act. Fuck it, that's how guys want women to act. That's not how an actual girl is supposed to fucking act. And it's not like, oh, well, we'll just make her a better character and we'll progress her story and define her more over the course of these next couple movies. No! She moves a fucking way at the end of the movie, so there really isn't any high chance that she will come back in any other movie. Also, speaking of love interest, Mary Jane is in the movie. Not really, sort of, kind of, but not really, sort of, kinda. Yeah, it turns out Zendaya is actually playing Mary Jane, even though this is a shock to no one because they announced that she was playing Mary Jane, like, a year ago? Like, this was all over the internet, guys. You don't remember this being announced? Why was this a shock? But she's not playing a character with the name Mary Jane. She's playing a character named Michelle who has the initials MJ. She's called Michelle Jones MJ. That's why she's called MJ. Guys, it's not the same. And to add insult to injury, she acts nothing like Mary Jane does. And I'm fine with her not looking exactly like Mary Jane does. I mean, I'm not, against a black woman or a black girl or even an Asian girl or a Hispanic girl, whatever, playing Mary Jane. So long as they play the character right, I don't give a shit how they look. Here's the thing. If they want to create a new interpretation of Mary Jane for like a whole new generation, because you have to remember, Mary Jane is a very popular character. People know how she acts, knows what she does at this point. She's been in 3 of the biggest comic movies of all time. People know who Mary Jane is by this point. So if you want to make a new one, I totally understand that, and I totally get that, and I totally respect that and back that up. But if you're going to do that, call her Mary Jane from the get-go. Don't have it be a big surprise. Oh, hey, turns out people call me MJ, even though I'm not really that character. I just happen to have those initials. And it's even worse because Kevin Feige, he's like, well, yeah, she's called MJ, but that doesn't mean that she's going to be Mary Jane, but it might mean that we will take her in that direction. It's like, just pick one or the other. Either she's not Mary Jane or she is Mary Jane. It reeks of like the twist at the end of The Dark Knight Rises where John Blake turned out to be a guy named Robin. And we're supposed to be like, oh, hey, he's Robin the whole time. No, he's just a guy who helped out Batman, who just so happened to be named Robin. That doesn't make him Robin. If it was just a huge, like, fan pandering moment, like, hey, we're doing a Spider-Man movie, we gotta mention Mary Jane. Like, even the Mark Webb movies didn't do that. They were gonna have her in Amazing Spider-Man 2, but even they were like, no, let's just cut her out. It just doesn't really make any sense. If I had to put or rank this movie anywhere compared to the other Spider-Man movies, I'd put it right above the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie, but just a notch or two below the second Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie. I think that just in terms of writing and characters and story, there's much more going on in that film than is in this film. But I think this film sets up a lot of stuff that they can really do for this new franchise. With this movie, this franchise has a lot of potential, and I can't wait to see where it goes and which avenues it takes. As a Spider-Man fan, watching this movie, this is the most fun I've had in a movie in a very, very long time. It's easily the most fun I've had with any Spider-Man movie. It has a lot of promise, it has a lot of talent, a lot of creativity behind it, and I can't wait to see where they go with this. It's easy for me to say that. I think it's a great time to be a Spider-Man fan. So guys, I really want to thank you for hanging with me with Spider-Month, watching all my stupid little movie reviews. It was a real pleasure doing this. It's something I've been wanting to do for a really long time, you know, talking about my thoughts about all the Spider-Man movies. I didn't get to do all the videos that I wanted to do. I think I mentioned before I wanted to do a what Spider-Man 4 would have been video, or all the other canceled Spider-Man movies that were going to be made, Amazing Spider-Man 3, all this other stuff. I even wanted to do a Spectacular Spider-Man TV show review, but I just didn't really have enough time to do that. Thank you for hanging with me. Thank you for watching these reviews. Thank you for watching my channel. Thank you for doing all this other stuff. And with that said, I'll see you guys next time in my next series of reviews, where I'll be talking about all the shows leading up to Marvel's and Netflix's The Defenders. So, I'll see you guys then.